Welcome to Think Bigger Voices, hosted by Jennie Treby and co-produced by Tony DiBenedetto. We're on a mission to break the cycle of poverty for kids in America by inspiring education, advocacy, and action in our communities. We'll tackle big subjects, talk to the experts, and promote the solutions making an impact. Join us if you believe that every kid deserves the opportunity to think bigger.
Hi and welcome. This is Jennie Treby with Think Bigger Voices. We're on the road in the greater Washington region where Think Big for Kids is expanding rapidly. We're thrilled to have as our guest today a powerhouse in education, Dr. Lynette Henry, who is the Executive Director of Educate Fairfax. Dr. Henry, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy day to talk with us today.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. So let's begin and let us share with us a little bit about Educate Fairfax and your role there.
Okay. So Educate Fairfax, we are the nonprofit education foundation for Fairfax County Public Schools. So we build partnerships and raise funds to support students in Fairfax County Public Schools, educators, and also families. And our mission is to really engage the community to invest in education excellence so our students are prepared for the future. I would say my role there is a visionary and connector. You know, I lead the strategic planning of our areas of focus. I also build partnerships and really connect community organizations to the needs within our school division. Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about Fairfax County, like how many schools you have and student population?
Yes.
Just to give us an idea.
Yeah, sure. So Fairfax County Public Schools, we are the 10th largest, maybe 9th by now, largest district in the United States of America. And we have over 183,000 students. And we serve also over 40,000 employees within Fairfax County Public Schools and 199 schools and centers. So pretty large.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll say.
And I will add about 37% of our students experience poverty within our division as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's a pretty significant number.
Yes, it is.
So you've been in education for over 30 years now.
Yeah.
And before we get into a little bit more about Educate Fairfax, I wanted to talk about you and your background.
Okay.
So I know you spent, before you came to Fairfax County, you spent close to 15 years in Hillsborough County, which is in Tampa,
Yes.
Florida. Tell us a little bit about your career there.
Sure. So in Florida, I started out there as a teacher in 1995. I had just recently come to the U.S. to teach, and I worked in a junior high school, but later went on to just elementary school, which was a school with high poverty. It was like 99.8% of students there were on free and reduced lunch. And the school actually was really struggling, and they were considering closing the school and asked me to come on there to be the school counselor. A lot of my work was around building school family community partnerships, and in coming into the school and understanding, a lot of the challenges that students were facing there. I worked to build school family community partnerships and brought in over 300 volunteers through an initiative I started there called Just Love. And the goal of Just Love was to really bring connections into that school to fill the gaps where, there were lack of resources, lack of needs, the need for relationship, those kinds of things. And so doing that over time, I stayed there for a while before I went on to do my PhD. But whilst I was doing that, I ended up going on to another school in high need, Hillsborough High School, where I worked as a college and career counselor in supporting students and increasing access to college. But the work that I had done during that time, I ended up being recognized. I got the Superintendent's Award called It was called We Deliver Miracles Award for delivering miracles to students. And so that was a surprise and very exciting. But what was also exciting, and we'll make connections later, is that that was given to me by the Hillsborough Education Foundation, which, there's kind of where it began.
Yeah.
And so that actually was a great support to me to continue the work that was happening over in Florida, Tampa, Florida.
Lynette, between the elementary school and then the high school, I mean, so you've seen it all, right? So talk to us a little bit about what are some of the key observations that you made? What were the families and kids there really struggling with?
Okay.
I mean, it's easy to say that they were, free and reduced lunch, which means that they're economically disadvantaged. Those are poor people. But what does that really mean? Like, how did that impact school?
When you think about a child starting off school and not necessarily having those school supplies or, having all the necessary essential items they need to start school, those are the kinds of things that begin to kind of become invisible barriers to achievement. So it's not one of the big pieces to truly understand with students who experience poverty. It's not that they're not capable. It's not that they are not going to be successful, but sometimes those invisible barriers of not having what you need, the resources, the consistent support to be successful are sometimes what are the greater challenges, or having people who believe in them that they can do it. I think it was there that my philosophy started, where imagine the best for every child and make it happen. And when we believe in children and we believe they have the potential and we provide the support that they need, then those students will be successful. Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit more about, you said it was called Just Love? Just Elementary. I love that.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more. You said you were building partnerships, but what was the outcome of that?
Okay. So that really started out actually a church that I was going to, and they really wanted to serve in the community. And so really working with them in partnership with the school and the school district to understand what that would look like, we began to have groups that would adopt classrooms. We had people that would come in and mentor students, building those quality relationships. And then we also supported families. And out of that support over the years, what was the outcome is that we were able to decrease not only the discipline referrals, but the number of students who would actually be the ones getting into trouble. We also were able to increase reading achievement and also increase attendance where students wanted to be in school. And out of that, at that time, they gave schools grades. I don't know if they still do that in Florida.
They do.
Okay. And so that school was an F. And within 3 to 4 years, that school went from an F to a B.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just by being able to involve the community and bring resources to these kids that it's just the rest of us, many of us take for granted.
Yes.
Yeah.
And having that belief in the students, I just remember kids would say, we're going to finish strong. And I remember we started a group with boys and girls where there was a gentlemen's and ladies club. And so the boys wore ties and the girls wore stoles and, and I remember really helping those children to understand belief in themselves. And at the end of the year, we took them to a 5-star restaurant to have dinner. The mayor came and, I remember one of the students going out and pulling out a chair for someone and, just be like talking about going to college. We had partnered also with University of Tampa, and they would also engage in the school and the community. And so not just coming into school, but actually going into community. We did some of our support in the actual community and met with families and, and just found ways to not only give back, but allow them also to be able to give. And so it really strengthened the whole community. Yeah.
So then you go from, the little ones to high schoolers. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about your work at Hillsborough. You said Hillsborough High School.
Yeah, Hillsborough High School. Yeah. And so Hillsborough High School was a mix of students who were in the International Baccalaureate program and also students in the General Education program. And one of the things that I would find is that students in the IB program, they knew where they were going after high school. They already knew where they were going. But one of the things I found with students in the general ed, many of them did not know where they were going. And so one of the things I believe is social capital, right? You know, if you have people who have the resources and the know-how, and you bring those people in to support those who don't have that information, then you build social capital. And so began to bring families, parents in from students who already had gone to college. And so they became my partners in supporting the students and families who did not have that information. And so by not only encouraging students to come and get the information and work with those volunteers that I was bringing in, but one of the things I did is I got my cart and I went into the cafeteria and I would meet students where they were at. And so we would meet in the lunchroom and I would have them come over to my lunch table and sign up for SAT and make sure they had the waivers that they need and, you know, just encourage them and tell them about opportunities for community service so they could get certain scholarships. And so whether they came to me or not, I went to them and to make sure that they had that information. And so out of that, we were able to increase the number of of students in also the general education population who were going to college. I always remember a story of a young man that I worked with, and I will never forget him. And he was actually on the Gen and IB side, they were valedictorians, and he was a valedictorian. And, you know, coming from a family of poverty, even although I told him that as a valedictorian, he could actually go to college in Florida for free, it didn't sink in. It didn't, for him, it wasn't a reality. Like
Even as a valedictorian.
Even as a valedictorian.
Wow.
And he said to me he didn't finish his application because he couldn't afford to go to college. He needed to stay home and take care of his mom. And so I actually had to call the college and had them tell him it was real. He could go to college for free. And so he did end up completing his application and went on to college for free.
Did he really?
He did. But it was a matter of following up, you know, like not just assuming that students had done that application, but following back up to make sure that they did everything they need, because this was not from a family who had all the information and knew exactly what had to be done. So that was important. Or helping a child to know, oh, I'm never going to be able to go to college, but no, come and meet with some people from colleges and hear what they have to say, and walking out that room and knowing I am going, you know. So it was an incredible experience. And I think that that's where my heart is, you know, is to make sure that students have access and opportunity.
You know, something that we see, you know, obviously every day is, especially with our first generation college students, is that connection between I am able and I can do it. But if you don't have anybody at home who's ever been through that process or can help you navigate that, you're really at a disadvantage.
Yes.
You know, so kudos to you.
Thank you.
I did want to ask you, you are from Barbados.
Yes.
What was the impetus for you to immigrating to the United States?
Both my husband and I, husband of 34 years marriage.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. We were in education, and we see education pretty much like a mission field for us, right? That's where our calling is. And we wanted to come here to America because we wanted to further our studies and also, you know, continue our professional development. But, you know, we come from a country where, you know, rigor and community are two things that come together. And so coming here was another opportunity to kind of do transformation at a scale. By coming here and being educated and really understanding systems and how they work, gave me the opportunity really to be able to do this work at a higher level. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you consider all of your time in Tampa in the classroom, what do you think are some of your biggest aha moments or takeaways that have helped to impact you, you know, even in your role now?
If I go back a little bit to coming from Barbados, you know, 1995, my husband and I came here, and we came here with $200 and 2 suitcases.
Wow.
That was it, you know,
Oh my
and
gosh.
to come into a country and not have much, but having people around you that began to speak into your life, began to support you, you know, show you where opportunities are, like that happening, and then having the opportunity to pay that forward. And so I would say that a big aha moment for me or a takeaway would be, you know, having access really opens doors of opportunity. And so I think from as giving as simple as a backpack to providing a student with a scholarship could truly alter their pathway. And I really feel that having that experience and being able to give that back would be one area. I also think that, transformation is relational. And so it's so important to build trust and build relationship with those that we are investing in. So we think about our students, our educators, our families, and the importance of building trust and authentic partnerships. And then I would say, lastly, that we look across the need that we have within our society, and we understand that that need is different. The resources are different. So for me, equity is a commitment that, it's not a checklist, it's not a practice. It's about daily providing and listening and understanding and making sure that those who need more get more. And so I would say those are some of the things that I take away. And I think those are the things that I continue to act upon.
Leading with that intentionality.
Yes.
So how did you make the leap then from, classroom, Hillsborough County, winning superintendent award, and now you're in Fairfax County, as you mentioned, one of the largest school systems in the country. So how did you get to Educate Fairfax?
Wow. So coming to America to further my education, I ended up, the work that I had done, it was impactful and I was making a difference. But for me, a legacy is not what I accomplished, but what others accomplished because of me. And so I decided to go on and do my PhD in counselor education so that I could impact others as well to continue this work. So it's more sustainable. And then after completing my degree, I ended up being hired as a professor here at George Mason University. So I came here in 2014 to teach graduate students at George Mason in counseling.
Oh,
yes.
That must have been pretty spectacular for you to enter the college classroom like that.
It really was. It was a place of heart and passion to be able to come here and to train counselors. And now I get to see those counselors who are now sometimes in Fairfax County Public Schools. Some of them are directors of student services. Some of them have gone on to become assistant principals, and I see them and it just gives me joy. It's almost like your child grew up and you're like, wow, like you're
right.
so excited.
Yeah.
And so it's wonderful. And like people ask, but you didn't stay as a professor. And it has to do with the wanting to leave that legacy or that impact. And so the work I did at George Mason and the work I did as a professor was really about building school family community partnerships and that evaluation process and knowing the difference it brings in providing developmental assets for students and increasing resilience. I wanted to come into the school system because I felt like a lot of the work I was doing was what was needed right here in the system, but I needed to understand the system in order to be able to enact change. And so I applied to become a school counselor in Fairfax County Public Schools. And I started in FCPS in 2016 as a school counselor. Whilst being in the school, I ended up going on and becoming a manager. I did work at the school level, but again, wanting to impact at a greater level and felt it was important to be at the table if I truly wanted to make a difference and really scale it up, not just a difference in one school, but across the county. And so I ended up becoming a manager of college success programs. And that job was to increase access to college for students from traditionally underserved communities. And I did that for many years. And then Educate Fairfax opened up. And I really believe that truly was for me the intersection of everything that I believe in terms of understanding how you can you can engage the community and use philanthropy and community investment in order to truly enact change in areas where there were so many gaps. So where budget could not meet in supporting students, educators, families, here is an opportunity to come into an organization where I could have that impact.
So really an intersection, like for you to come in and have the most impact on the things that are you're the most passionate about.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what services Educate Fairfax provides?
Yes. So Educate Fairfax, I would say that, our goal, like I said, is to meet where the budget doesn't meet and to address funding gaps. And we do that in alignment with the Fairfax County Public Schools strategic plan, right? And that strategic plan is about equity, excellence, and accountability. And so those are the pillars that really align with our mission. So I would say our 5 areas of focus, one would be our kids in need. And that's where we are making sure that students, what they need in order to thrive, not just survive. So whether it be school supplies, addressing food insecurity, whether it be health or vision care that they need, but whatever essentials that students need across the division, that is where our students need it the most, that's where kids in need support. Then we have our Educate Fairfax grants, and those are teacher and school-led based grants that provide innovative experiences and opportunities for students. And so we raise funds to provide up to $2,000 for a teacher or educator to be able to support students in this way. Then we have our Educate Fairfax scholarships, and this is the first year we had our Educate Fairfax scholarships. So this was really, really exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that provided scholarships to graduating seniors, whether they were considering college, trade, certifications, being able to provide that support that would give them the access that they need. We have our Innovators Fund. Our Innovators Fund is, I would say, more systemic. So we meet with leadership, Dr. Reed, our superintendent, and leadership in order to understand what are the strategic priorities in the division where there is funding need. And so we address things, whether it be like chronic absenteeism, increasing access to Algebra 1, reading by 3rd grade, after school enrichment. What is that strategic priority and where is that funding needed? So we can connect with our business partners to understand where that need is. And then the 5th area would be our educator and staff support. We know our students are excelling because we have educators and staff who are pouring into them and investing in them daily. We want to also pour into them and show our care and compassion for the hard work that they do every day. And so we support them in professional development opportunities. We support them in appreciation, recognizing the outstanding work they do. And this year we started the FCPS Cares of the Quarter. And what we do is FCPS Cares is a part of something that Human Resources already do to express their appreciation for staff in FCPS. And what we do is we work with sponsors to provide a $500 award to that teacher or that staff member each quarter. And all of us go in and surprise that staff member.
Oh, nice.
And thank them for all the amazing work that they're doing. And so that's something we started this year. But I would say these are the things that we are doing in order to support our students, educators, and families. But I also think the real impact also happens in what we see as the outcome, whether it be student confidence, teacher creativity, support for families. Like those are the things that are allowing us to be able to support them.
And you are already seeing that impact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You mentioned business partnerships as one of the 5 areas. And I know that Educate Fairfax has a partnership with the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority, which is a great partnership. Yeah. And really how we got connected with Think Big for Kids. Why do you think it's important to bring business community in line with educational community?
With education, when students are being successful in education and you're working with big businesses, they understand the long game, right? Like when education is thriving, our economy is thriving. And so when businesses like the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority come in and Think Big for Kids and support students, we are building tomorrow's future, a pipeline, for talent. And so EDA I'm shortening it.
Mhm.
They are very strategic in terms of providing work-based learning experiences, internships, mentorship, strategic investments into students, scholarships, all those things that are truly preparing our students for the future. Our superintendent says that learning happens best in community. And we couldn't be preparing our students for the future without having that connection and partnership to our business partners and community, because that's who we're preparing our students for, the future workforce. And so that relationship, I would say, is greater than corporate social responsibility. It is truly about co-creating a pipeline for the future for our students.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
pretty powerful.
Mm.
How are programs, so we talked about Think Big, how are programs like Think Big for Kids helping?
Wow. We wouldn't be able to do this work without organizations like Think Big for Kids. This year alone, Think Big for Kids provided 4 scholarships in a collaboration with the EDA. Think Big expect more scholarships for students, and this is our first year doing scholarships. We were actually able to give 38 students over $50,000 in
Wow.
scholarships because of organizations like Think Big for Kids and other organizations coming together and for us doing this work in alignment.
Mhm.
And so what have we done? I talk about access provides opportunity. And so that access has provided opportunity for students. It's provided belief in like people standing behind and saying, I believe in you. And you think about, we talked about first generation. We have so many students who are homeless, students who, are having various struggles and challenges that, because of it, there are truly the students who are traditionally underserved and they need more resources and support. And so what Think Big for Kids and other organizations like that have done is really open doors for students. Yeah.
Lynette, what do you see as the future for Educate Fairfax? Because I feel like you're just getting started.
I see the future of Educate Fairfax as, I would say, growth with purpose, right? I feel like definitely there's a need for us to grow, especially for such a large district, but being very purposeful. I would say that, our focus is to build sustainable funding to really expand our reach. I talk about 199 schools and centers. This year, we provided 107 grants, Educate Fairfax grants to 100 schools. But we have such a large division. So really expanding that reach across schools and deepening our impact. So being very strategic and truly understanding where those needs are, where the strategic priorities are, and how we can engage with those community organizations to be intentional and understand exactly where that need is so that our passions are aligning and the impact that we're having is even greater.
When you think about the work that you do, just from a high level, what do you think are the biggest challenges facing kids today?
I think one of the biggest challenges facing kids today is disconnection. And I say that to say disconnection from resources, disconnection from opportunities. I would say disconnection from always having people who will believe in you no matter where you come from, right? And so sometimes when students have less resources, the belief is that they cannot be successful. And so I think that we need to bring connection. We need to help students and families know that they're seen and they're supported, understand where those resources are needed, and for community partners to invest in supporting those students who are in greatest need.
Final question for you.
Okay.
What do you think is one thing that a person could do to help a child in need?
I would say engage. Engage with students, whether it be to reading to a child, engage, whether it be to invest in providing a scholarship for that way provide access to opportunity, volunteer, get involved in what's happening in our schools so that you truly understand it from that point of view and are able to support. I always have to come back because it's my philosophy. Imagine the best for every child and make it happen.
Imagine the best for every child and make it happen.
Yeah.
I love that. Dr. Lynette Henry, thank you so much for your words and everything that you're doing for the community. You're an incredible leader, and we really appreciate you taking the time with us.
Well, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, and also thank you for the great work you are doing and Tony is doing.
Oh, well, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. Stay tuned for next time.
Thanks for spending your time with Think Bigger Voices. Visit thinkbigforkids.org/podcast to see more episodes, follow our journey, and stay connected.